Welcome back to Detroit Pissing Me Off. Today on the show, we're talking about your Detroit Pistons. Some lineup variations we have going into the regular season. Of course, Jaden Ivey may not be in the starting lineup, so we'll discuss that a bit. We'll also discuss some defensive lineups, some three-point shooting lineups, a fast-breaking athletic lineup, and more on Detroit Pissing Me Off. Let's get into it today. The all three-point shooting lineup here tonight. I kind of waffled between Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren at the center. I decided that it would be more important to have a rim runner in Jalen Duren. So we'll have Jalen Duren at the center. At the power forward spot, we'll go with Bojan Bogdanovic. Small forward, Joe Harris. Shooting guard, Alec Burks. And point guard, Cade Cunningham. Surrounding Cade Cunningham with a bevy of shooters and Jalen Duren. You could mix in, like I said, Isaiah Stewart over Jalen Duren for a little bit more three-point shooting, but that would take away a rim runner. Or Marvin Bagley might be a nice option in that regard too. Maybe getting the best of both worlds. A guy who can potentially shoot the three. He's been looking nice from the top of the key in the preseason, but not a historical great shooter overall. We haven't had the opportunity to see Cade Cunningham, what he can do in a lineup where he is surrounded by shooters yet, and I would love to see this lineup in small spurts, maybe 3 to 5 minutes here or there. They may score 20 and allow 25 in that time period. In this lineup, you'd have to outscore your opponents. Obviously, defensively, they're going to have some major liabilities there on the wings from Harris and from Bogdanovic. What Cade Cunningham could do is penetrate, operate the lanes, kick out, rim run with Jalen Duren. I actually like this lineup quite a bit. I'd like to see it happen on Thursday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder here in Tulsa. See what, hopefully Cade Cunningham and Bojan are back, as well as Jalen Duren. Or I do believe they were held out of practice the other day. So it's kind of up in the air if they'll play on Thursday. But they should be good to go by the regular season. The next lineup I want to talk about is the all-defensive lineup. In this lineup, I've got the rookie Marcus Sasser, a dog on defense. If you saw him in the rookie talent show, he was Scooby-Dooby-Doo, and I think it relates well to him. He is a dog defensively. He'll get up in your face. He will get steals. He will cause havoc, but he can only guard really probably the point guard spot, people that are probably 6'4" and under, being that Marcus Sasser is a man of smaller stature. At the shooting guard position, we've got Killer Hayes. I'm talking positionally from a defensive standpoint. Offensively, Killian would probably run the point during this, but you wouldn't want to run this offense really only for one defensive possession. Offensively, you would have some terrible spacing, and it would not look good for the Pistons on the offensive end with this lineup. So I would have Killian Hayes in this spot, or you could go Cade Cunningham. Defensively, they are comparable in some ways. I think Killian Hayes is a little better about intercepting and passing lanes and getting steals. So we got Killian Hayes at the 2. At the 3, we have Ausar Thompson, who could lock up their best defender on the wing. And then at power forward, we have Isaiah Stewart. And at center, Jalen Duren. Like I said, this defense would only be utilized in moments, offense out, defense in for one possession. That's when I would use this lineup. Moving on to the all-athletic lineup. In this lineup, we have Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Ausar Thompson, Marvin Bagley, and Jalen Duren. Or you could go small with this lineup and bring in Killian Hayes instead of Marvin Bagley. So you'd have Killian Hayes, Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Ausar Thompson, and Jalen Duren. But I like having Killian Hayes in there because it'd be a lineup very good in transition. So these two lineups are interchangeable with Marvin Bagley and Killian Hayes. So let's talk about the elephant in the room that's been going around on Twitter that is making Piston fans a bit talkative and irate in some circumstances. Jaden Ivey coming off the bench. Will this push Jaden Ivey to become a better defender? Is that why Monty Williams is keeping him from the starting lineup to start the season? Or does Monty Williams just want to use Jaden Ivey to be able to be the guy off the bench, initiate offense against inferior defenders, and be able to give you more points per minute than he would in the starting lineup? Of course, we'll still see him with Cade Cunningham. We'll need to see how these two guys can coexist together I don't think there's going to be a problem when it comes to that. I think they've shown they can play well together. Of course, the big problem with Jaden Ivey has been on the defensive end. He's a guy that can play pretty well one-on-one matchups. In isolation, I think he does a much better job than in the team defensive realm. That's where Jaden Ivey is going to have to make his improvements for him to get that starting job. I think Monty Williams is kind of holding that carrot out there in front of him, and that is the reward, is maybe back in the starting lineup. But I think Jaden Ivey's had a very good attitude when asked about this, and I think he will excel coming off the bench as a sixth man. He's going to give us a lot of points, assists, and I think he'll do very well in that role. So, Piston fans, do me a solid, smash out that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Detroit Piston Me Off.